right, have and have not fans. Now, this is a topic that I always get whenever I do a live stream, but given the fact that the show surprised me by announcing that they will be going into a season 9, and what was it, like May 23rd, I believe, when Gavin, aka Jeffrey, did that interview saying that the show will be going into a season 9 and they'll be filming soon. It's almost been a month, and I haven't seen or heard of anyone on set for the filming of season 9 yet. And he said in that interview within a couple of weeks they'll be down there doing it, but I'm assuming Atlanta, Georgia. But I haven't seen anything regarding that yet. I mean, maybe it will happen towards the end of this week. I mean, hey, it doesn't really matter to me. As long as the show is getting that season 9, then that's fine by me. But a lot of people have been asking, how do I want the series to end? So let me just put it this way. I want to do this disclaimer at the beginning of the video. I'm not sure. Like, I mean, I don't know how long the show's going on. The show is still staying on OWN despite the fact that Tyler Perry's working with Viacom now. His own contract ended at the beginning of last month in May, so I don't really know. Did he renegotiate? Was there something along the lines where he felt like maybe the shows wouldn't succeed on non-owned networks like BET and everything else under the Viacom umbrella? I'm not sure. I honestly do not know. When I say they, I mean the numerous fans who sent the articles, I was shocked because of what Tyler Lepley said in that interview last year. And no, I'm not going to play the clip again, but it was that clip where he said that, you know, if the analogy was like a cat, then everyone's on their ninth life, and you know there's going to be a lot of deaths in this last season. It's the final season. And then when the woman was like, wait, so are you saying like this is the last season? Well, you got to keep watching to find out. I don't know. I mean, when they say a lot of deaths, he was making it, I mean, and my interpretation was, oh snap, does he mean like the main cast members? Evidently not, because he was actually, you know, in it, Los Angeles, I believe, in California, with other cast members, well, the main cast, doing promos for both this year 2019 and next year 2020 at the end of 2018. So none of the main cast will be dying anytime soon. And when I say main cast, you know, Wyatt, Catherine, Jim, Jeffrey, Veronica, David, Hannah, Benny, Candace. When I say main cast, I mean the main cast. But I don't really know what to expect. And I mentioned this in my Pearl video, Will Pearl Come to Justin's Aid? And a lot of people responded in a positive way to what I was saying. I would actually like it and once again, guys, the show's going on to season 9, so I have no earthly idea if season 9 is the final season. I don't know if there's going to be like a season 15. I am just speaking how I would personally like the series to end in that final season. Now, in the video I talked about what I would like is to have the court cases where maybe the final season is like, instead of 20 some episodes, maybe it's 10 episodes or so, or maybe the back half of the final season is dedicated fully to all the various court cases for the murders and everything else in between. You know, Quincy Maxwell, Jennifer Salison, the Little Lizzie hit and run case, and so many others that have gone without any kind of I guess you could say payoff. Like, we've seen setup, but some of these situations haven't even been brought up in quite a while. And hell, even the Amanda murder, and yeah, it was a murder, not a suicide. I think it would be very creative for Tyler Perry to have that last season or back half. You know, like if you watch the Arrowverse on CW, Arrow season 8 is only supposed to be about 10 episodes or so. So imagine if the final season is however long. And I feel like I'm sorry, I'm actually at a loss for words, because like this is the final, like allegedly the final season. I think that I really want the court cases to have meaning. And what I mean by that is the fact that I really want everything in the show to be wrapped up. Like, I don't want there to be any unanswered questions. And I mean, for somebody like me who reviews this as a, job, I would love for things to be wrapped up in a nice bow. That's not to say that there couldn't be any loose ends left that could hint at a potential movie a continuation of the series, a spinoff, however you want to do it. But I feel that when it comes down to it, I really think that Tyler Perry could implement flashbacks and whatnot. For example, let's say if we have a 2 episode arc dedicated to the Amanda murder, then you can actually fill in little gaps where when you have the characters on the stand and whatnot, testifying and stuff like that, you can have little flashbacks of Amanda buying her gun from the pawn shop, Amanda's mental episodes during the series, Professor Cannon and whatnot. Maybe his wife shows up. There are so many things Tyler Perry could do to bring back characters who were one note, like they came for like an episode or so, or they were mentioned but never seen. Characters who have died could reappear in flashbacks, or hell, like for example, Professor Cannon, who was killed off, he could come back to film like a scene that was never seen, like an extension of a scene where maybe he's talking with his wife, or what if he's having what if there's a flashback where he's talking with Candace, things that were never seen. Same thing with like the deaths of Erica. What if her parents show up? Remember, she allegedly has children. Melissa, her death. I mean, she has a mom. There are just so many things they could do with that. And I'm sorry, guys, I know this video is kind of, all over the place, but I never really stopped to think about it like this, because since they mentioned there's a season 9, I kind of just brush the whole how do I want the series to end thing under the rug. It's kind of like the whole character deaths. Knowing that the show's going to go on, I have no intention of doing who's going to die, because it's pretty clear everyone is, not going to die. So, the main cast, not really counting the likes of Justin, Madison, RK, any of the lower tier Malone characters, just the kind of like the B to C rank characters or reoccurring characters, or even like Derek or Vinny and, things like that. But I do feel like when it comes down to it, you have the Maggie Day. I mean, they did have the memorial in DC, but come on now. You got her dying at Veronica's doorstep. You have Warlock and his crew. I mean, I don't think that's ever going to be, I guess you could say, handled in the court of law, because when you got the Malones doing their thing and they own the cops, there's no telling how that's going to line up. But I feel like I would love to have a lot of these characters answer for their crimes. Yeah, I know a lot of people love Catherine, but she murdered the DA in cold blood. She has to pay for that. Come on now. Then there's so many other shady things that went on. Like, I wonder about those puzzle pieces too. Like Veronica's puzzle pieces to take down everyone. That would be very interesting. I think that I would love to see the Quincy Maxwell murder be handled, because there are so many angles to that. But the problem with that is, let's say if they do these court cases, how would it actually work if, let's say, someone is found guilty and they're immediately put behind bars? Would they be able to come testify in another court case that they're involved with? Well, maybe they could, because I mean, if you are charged for one thing, but then you're involved in another court case, and then something happens where you're also involved, that's extra charges, because they do like double life and stuff like that. So I don't know, it's possible. So here's what I look, I know once again this is all over the place, but what I would like for that final season is to wrap things up where we have all the court cases, which I feel would be a great way. It might seem boring to some. I think it would be a great farewell letter. I mean, once again, I want to make a nerd reference. If you watched Avengers Endgame and you're familiar with the MCU, while the movie was, I personally thought Infinity War was better. It was a way to close out the Infinity Saga, but guess what? There was a lot of time travel and jumping and stuff like that. So you saw various scenes from various other Marvel movies and extensions on scenes where you go to different perspectives, like, the Ancient One and the Battle of New York in 2012 for the Avengers film and things like that. It was a great way to send off certain characters, a great way to pay off things from movies like 5 years ago, and give reminders of things that some people may have forgotten about. And I think that's the perfect way for the haves and the have-nots, because, yeah, there were some people that came into the series after Amanda had died, so they never physically saw Amanda while she was on the show, while her episodes were on the air, not reruns. So some people will be surprised to see her. Then Tony, who hasn't been seen for quite some time. Benny's father. Why don't we get closure on the kidney thing? There are just so many things that could happen in the final season. But I even mentioned this in my other video in the live stream. Now, if you do these court cases to wrap things up, that might not necessarily have to be the final season. It could be the way to wrap everything up during the first several seasons of the show before you move into new territory, because that's one of the things where the show is intertwined. I feel like if there were two things that really kept me coming back to the show, especially because I review this now full time, it's the fact that we have some great cliffhangers and intertwined storylines. But the thing is, there's a difference between a cobweb of, intertwining threads to make a full picture versus a huge rubber band ball or yarn ball. Everything's connected, but it's a bit of a mess. And with Tyler Perry being like the sole writer and everything for the show, some things get lost in translation, character inconsistency, plot holes, storylines that really don't make sense. So I would really like it if he were to wrap the show up, maybe get a couple people who, and I'm not trying to self-promote myself, but people like me who just love this show to death and know I don't want to say know it all, because I feel like that's arrogant. Know a lot about the ongoing story from episode 1 to where we are now, because if he wants to wrap this show up and do it right, get some people who have been watching this show religiously since episode 1 and talk about, hey, here are some storylines that haven't been brought up for a while, but they've been hinted at. So if we wanted to make this season good, let's just hit every nail on the head so we can really put a close to this thing. And like the Celine, the Tony kidney, Amanda's death, all these court cases that have gone unsolved, and just so many other things, I would love to see that happen, be like a consultant, whether it be myself or just other people in Tyler Perry Studios or things like that. Once again, not self-promotion. I'm just saying that if he wanted to do this series justice at the final end, it's kind of funny that final season to have justice be, handed out to all the characters who need justice or need to pay for their crimes, or, to have justice to get, I guess you could say justice for the crimes that were done against them. Really wrap things up in a nice package as a farewell to fans. But like I said before, and if you haven't seen the videos, I've done various, hey, here are some great spin-off ideas for the haves and the have-nots, or how about the haves and the have-nots and If Loving You Is Wrong crossing over, Have and Have-Nots movie, Have and Have-Nots prequel series. This is an entire franchise in itself if done right. You know how Medea, you had the plays, you have the movies, you have the cameos in the television shows, and just everything else in between. The haves and the have-nots definitely is a franchise that I don't see dying soon, where, let's say hypothetically, if season 9 is the last season, and again, I am just trying to theorize here. Okay, so season 6 is allegedly 9 or 10 episodes. Season 7 is going to start probably this fall and run into late 2019 or early 2020. Season 8, 2020. I would theorize, because I have no idea how many episodes were filmed, season 9 would end in late 2020 or early 2021. Once again, pure speculation. Let's say early 2021 is the final season. I don't see the series itself dying anytime soon. I mean, at that point, I would have to revamp the channel, and by revamp, I just mean a simple name change and then update my social media and business cards and all that good stuff, because Tyler Perry has so many other projects in the wings that I feel like the haves and the have-nots is definitely the flagship. I think, House of Pain was the first, but in terms of taking Tyler to another level of development with fans, critics, and everything else in between, I think the haves and the have-nots was that thing. So I feel like every show he creates after that will be compared to the haves and the have-nots. Now, I said this before when I thought the show might be ending or how I would end the show in other videos like last year. I'm not saying it's impossible for a show to outdo the haves and the have-nots, because what Tyler Perry could do is look at the things wrong with the haves and the have-nots, but then make them right when it comes to the new show. Because I think, and I've had people who have recently just come into the series not too long ago told me, hey, you know what? I went back and watched the first season or so on Hulu, and you're right. It's like, back in those early episodes, it just had you wanting more and more. The storylines were awesome. The characters are great. But then it started. People love those first seasons compared to where we are now. I feel like season 6 is the first season in a couple years where, in terms of the entirety of the season, it's been great. But that might not be a fair comparison due to the fact that this season is only like 9 or 10 episodes, as opposed to other seasons that are 20 plus episodes. So yeah, but in any case, I do feel like we really have a lot of uncharted territory is what I'm saying. So I didn't even know that season 8 was filmed, but based on how they cut these episodes, and when I say that is, like they could film 30 episodes in 2 weeks time and say it's season 7, but by the time it comes to the distribution of said episodes, I don't know if OWN or Tyler Perry Studios makes the decision to say, you know what, we're only going to make this season 12 episodes, and then season 8 will be 18 episodes. So when they did the filming like last September or October, it was labeled season 7. So I'm just going to assume that they're going to drop those episodes in different chunks, where one part will be season 7, then the other part will be season 8. Then what they're filming allegedly in a few days or the next couple of weeks, that could be labeled season 9. But for all we know, there might be filming for season 10 going on, because season 8 just popped out of nowhere. Ironically enough, number 8 is my favorite number, so I don't really, I'm not complaining. But I feel that if the series was to end, I would like to see justice to be served. Like, I get it, and I've said this time and time again like a broken record. Yes, it's good that Candace is trying to change. She's made peace with her mother. The death of her son, she's coming to grips with that, trying to find a peaceful life with Charles. And my biggest complaint for when this whole president arc came up was the fact that it's a big jump from like street level or state level legislation, like judges and governors, the CEOs, all the way to the president-elect. And then the fact that it's what kind of message is that sending, where it's like, yeah, if you just whore yourself out and whatnot, you can be the next first lady. And I'm not really trying to talk about real world politics here, but I feel that the biggest complaint for me was it just seemed too easy for Candace. I mean, even she felt doubted this, like, this is way too easy, I don't trust you, and things like that. But it actually has grown on me a lot, because this story arc is now getting very interesting based off the new flavor that the whole presidential scene is adding to the show itself. But she has to pay for her crimes. There's just so much that she's done that hasn't come back on her yet, but it looks like it's finally coming back on her soon. So with that being said, just to wrap this video up, because I feel like it's way longer than it should have been, but this is a very loaded question. This series should end tying up loose ends, justice being served, these court cases being dealt with, and maybe the final several minutes of the show, like 7 to 10 minutes, or hell, maybe an entire episode to itself, is the epilogue, where you pretty much show what the characters are doing. Like, if they're in jail, do they pass away? Do some of them eventually get out? Do some of them turn their lives over to God? How about Hannah's future? Does she forgive Derek? Do they make peace with each other? What about Candace, and what about Charles's political career? Mitch, does he eventually become one with his family? What about Justin and Jeffrey? There are so many things that I don't even think that I could do an entire video listing out every little thing that needs to be wrapped up. That would be a fun little project, but I don't know. If you want it, let me know in the comment section below. But I think that's the kind of video I would do when the show goes on hiatus after this season, since we only have about 3 episodes left. But yeah, I mean, this series definitely has left an impact on me. I might record a video soon, like, how the show has changed my life. But yeah, I feel like the final season would have a lot of weight on its shoulders. And obviously, being a a reviewer, so to speak, I would definitely put a lot of pressure on it because this show has been such an impactful series over the past 6 years that I would hate for it to go out the way that Game of Thrones did. Never watched the show, so I'm not going to pass judgment, but I do know people who watched the show, and based off all the flack it got on the internet, the final season wasn't that good, apparently. So I would hate for the show to just end in a way that was like kind of disrespectful to the series itself. Like, I get it. I'm just one person. I am just a fan. I'm not affiliated with Tyler Perry or Tyler Perry Studios or own or anything like that. But I feel like it would be a really big slap to the face if either the series kept running past its prime or the final season didn't do justice to the fans and, more importantly, the cast members. So yeah, I would hope the final season definitely wrapped up every loose end. So with that being said, I hope this explained my thoughts on how I want the show to end. And I think that's about it. I think I've, unloaded my brain of everything I have to say on the subject. But feel free to let me know, how would you want the series to end? And everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I just feel like it's too easy for certain characters to just get a happy ending. I want them to work for it. Like, they have to jump over the obstacles they put in their own way. Like Veronica getting past herself and realizing her family, her ex-husband and son, don't really need her dictating what they do. And instead of focusing on revenge, focus on her own life to get better. Just like Candace needs to focus on law school, finish up her degree, because she'll be a hell of an attorney, instead of just being eye candy in the White House. So we'll just have to wait and see. So guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and sorry for the dumpster in the parking lot that's coming through right now. So there's background noise, that's why. But are there any other questions you have for me? Feel free to let me know in the comment section below, and I'll talk to you soon. Congratulations on making it to the end of this video. If you like what you just saw, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, or if you have anything you would like to add to the video, make sure to leave your thoughts in the comment section below. If you want to keep up with me on social media, go to the description box. All of my links for social media are right there. Also, if you feel like you would like to donate to the channel, make sure to click on the link to PayPal. Any amount helps. $1, $5, $20. As a full-time YouTuber, any support from my fans really does mean a lot to me. Finally, make sure to hit the subscribe button as well as the bell notification icon. That way you're kept up to date on any new content I post to the channel. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you in the next video.